Good morning, my friends. Apologies for being a minute late. A light fell over. You have no idea how many lights I've got blaring in my face right about now. This green screen nonsense. It's a madness. Out to our locked-in crew from early, though. Gonna kick off today's show with this one from Tough Culture and SG. Brand new bit entitled Good Vibes. That's what we want to bring to you people. Good vibes.
Shining bright like the sun, deep breath into the lungs. Give thanks for what is to come. Greatness only journey's begun. Greatness only journey begins. Where you don't lose, there's only big wins. Where you don't snooze, we're active on things. Choices you choose. Pick you up when you're down. Get you right when you're left. Back we get you up front. Good vibes now, we don't stress. Pick you up when you're down. Get you right when you're left. Back we get you up front. Good vibes now, we don't stress. Rising up with the sun. My heart be rhythm of drums. Energy second to none. Good vibes are always welcome. Good music helps release attention. Give yourself time, enough attention. And choose oneness to achieve ascension. Level up with the ejection.
Out to my locked-in crew from early each and every time. Make sure you're throwing a like on the video. Let us know how you are feeling in the chat on the right-hand side as well. As always, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. We're trying to hit 1.6k by the end of this show. We've got to go up, I think, 4 in total. So get involved. Yeah.
Pick you up when you're down. Get you right when you're left. Back we get you up front. Good vibes now, we don't stress. Pick you up when you're down. Get you right when you're left. Back we get you up front. Good vibes now, we don't stress. You up when you're down, get you right when you're left. Back we get you up front. Good vibes now, we don't stress. Pick you up when you're down, get you right when you're left. Back we get you up front. Good vibes now, we don't.
Then, my friends, welcome back to Breakfast with Kovu here on CubCamTV. It's been a wonderful week. We've had some fantastic guests in the building. We've been joined by Henny G. We've had Alfie Bogush. We've had Plastician. Oh, my word. We've had Hatter. We've had Black Twang. And today we're going to be joined by Mr. Dubz. What a fantastic lineup of shows we've had this week. And a massive shout out to everyone who's been getting involved in the channel. Honestly, it's been amazing. We've gone up nearly 100 again already since Monday, which is mind-blowing to me, the amount of growth we're currently seeing. So thank you to each and every one of you who is getting involved, whether it be via this live stream, whether it be via watching the podcast listening to the podcast afterwards, and then coming and getting involved in the channel beforehand. And of course, just everyone who's commenting, liking, just generally getting involved in the channel. My heart goes out to each and every one of you. Thank you for getting involved. It's been an absolute pleasure and an honor so far to come and talk to you every morning. I'm absolutely loving it. So thank you. I'm not going to make any promises, but we should hopefully be back inside the Trickstar Radio studio from next Monday. I'm hoping. Everything apparently is being finished off today. I'm going and checking out the studio today to make sure that we are able to actually go live. Hopefully we were back in by Monday, but it might be the following week. I'm not entirely sure yet. I shall keep you all updated. However, for the time being, we are going to be carrying on in the cave, and obviously we'll be putting new videos up every single day as we do. We just want to keep the channel busy, man, and that's what I think is really, really making it kind of hit new heights. I don't know if anyone saw the stats thing we put up yesterday. We're up about 300% in everything over the last 8 weeks, which is mind-blowing again. So thank you to each and every one of you. Make sure all of you are throwing a like on the video. I can see how many of you are locked in, and I can see how many likes the video has. So if we could all transfer over, take about half a second to go and click that like button, makes a massive difference to the reach of the channel. And of course, let us know how you're feeling in the chat on the right hand side. I want to engage with you people. I want to know exactly who's listening, and I want to know how we can make your mornings more enjoyable here on Breakfast. So let's move into a couple of announcements as we always do. Make sure you are of course subscribing to the channel. It does make a massive difference when people are getting involved. We're trying to hit 1.6k by the end of today's stream. I think we start the day on 1597, so if we can get those 3 extra people through the door, that would be outstanding, and it'd be great fun. So thank you to anyone who has already done that. Please do get involved. I never check my sub count during the show. I always wait till the show finishes, and then once the show's finished, I'll then have a little look-see and go, okay, cool, we've done all right here. We've done all right. As well as that, let's have a little look through the other announcements as per. Make sure you are following on socials. That's Instagram as well as Facebook, of course, Twitter and SoundCloud. All of those you can find me at KXVU. New content going up every single day, so please do get involved. And I did mention the podcast earlier. If you aren't necessarily that keen on listening in via YouTube but are keen on the content, you can always check out the show over on Spotify, Apple Music and SoundCloud. We remove all the audio and then upload it. That's a quite popular way to listen. It's actually more popular than YouTube for the show specifically. And of course, today is Thursday, which means we're going to be jumping into the Thursday premieres from around 6-7 o'clock. Basically, the Thursday premieres is a section of the show the section of this channel where we basically spend the Thursday evening looking through all the latest bangers to appear. The new music videos, basically, because everyone now drops their music videos on a Thursday ahead of the Friday, ahead of New Music Friday, and ahead of that rush. And people will try to clamour to get their videos out to get a last-minute push to get into that New Music Friday playlist. And it's sick to see. There's always some bangers to be released on a Thursday. There's always surprises as well, so do make sure you are floating around this channel from around what should I say? From around 6-ish, I'd say that's when I'll probably be back in action. That's when we're likely to start seeing some movement and some action on the reviews. We're going to start seeing new music videos dropping, and it's going to be great. So please do get involved. And yeah, that's pretty much all of the running stuff for today. Let's talk about today's guest then. Mr. Dubz is going to be in the building from approximately 9 o'clock. And as I said earlier, this is going to be a slightly shorter show as we've only got the one guest. So we're going to probably be finishing up at around sort of 9:40-ish after I've done a little bit of an outro. So it's only 20 minutes shorter, but you know. I don't want to just sit here and waffle on for an extra half an hour because it's YouTube. I just don't feel there's much call for it. So we're going to do the interview, and that's going to be the main focal point of today's show. But yeah, we're going to be joined by Mr. Dubz from around 9-ish. Should be a wicked show. We're going to be talking about his transition out of dubstep and grime into D&B, what caused that kind of transition, what he's up to now, obviously how lockdown's been treating him production-wise, what he's working on, how the last couple of years have been, and all the usual kind of angles we like to take here on Breakfast with COVID. We love doing in-depth interviews, so that's going to be what's taking place from 9 o'clock-ish. We've also got a couple of interesting bits of news to get into as well. However, for the time being, we're going to be getting into a banger that I am very, very keen to discuss and talk about, as Ritz releases a brand new single this Friday. Now, we've got this one a day early, so I think this is a bit of an exclusive. Let's get into this one. Sounds of Ritz, Brighton Family, each and every time. Track goes by the name of Tyson's Throne, and it's a banger, so let's get into it.
Yo, it's Forza. You're now locked into the breakfast show with Kovu. Anytime it's live, you have to go true. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel right now, CubCamTV. Stay locked.
I don't wanna flex like them, I just wanna go get this dough. I don't wanna see no sirens, cause I'm just trying to get this home. She can't act like my team, and I ain't on impressing the home. This one kicks like bison, this one hits like Tyson's throat. I don't wanna flex like them, I just wanna go get this dough. I don't wanna see no sirens, I'm just trying to get this home. She can't act like my team, and I ain't on impressing the whole. This one kicks like bison, this one hits like Tyson's throat. Best know that Ritz him icy cold, cause I flows deadly like knives in throat. From a set piece, I'ma still find this goal. No, you can't quit now, key, I might be close. Got my eyes on most about rising scope, can I sight them? No. She don't wanna get wife, she'll hold. These MCs, do I like these? No. I've been out here where the pies get ate. I ain't been using Wiley's flow with this right impressing writing loads. Pissed that you invested that time, pissed that you invest time with hoes. That thing's bait out twice as old. They don't wanna go to the heights we go. Still got that backstrap nicely rolled. Always know that when it gets hard that you gotta keep going and let things glow. Remember I never had faith in myself, now I'm thinking that I just might blow. Touch mic, I'ma let things go. That Ritz got 1,000 flow. I'm a level 2, fuck reef that get your scalp or blow. See red like a scouser's home, gotta ask myself they about it, no. Hopefully now man knows best, no I can't stop till this house is owned. With the whips outside like Franklin's home, had a living room lit with a mountain stove. Glad you've been doubting lows as I slapped your mouth and nose. Oh, I don't wanna flex like them, I just wanna go get this dough. I don't wanna see no sirens, I'm just trying to get this home. She can't act like my team, and I ain't on impressing the whole. This one kicks like bison, this one hits like Tyson's throat. I don't wanna flex like them, I just wanna go get this dough. I don't wanna see no sirens, I'm just trying to get this home. She can't act like my team, and I ain't on impressing the whole. This one kicks like bison, this one hits like Tyson's throat. And this week's been a long year, Ritz 2 Tech won't stop till I gone clear. I know the top's not near, I know what I want's clear. I don't move with the devil, but around here don't see God here. Man, just do what I want here. Still here when it gets long here. KXVU come true, mix like EZ. Got me like, how can GRIME still be dead? Make your bid and lie there. Me, I don't need no sleep yet. I don't know why man got 8-4. I'ma call that one 3Zs. I don't get why man want hate for, but I guess that's why man don't see sense. What a long year this week's been. Go in, go out, still not leaving. On this gram thing fully, damn it just move like Ronan Keaton. Any flow that I bring's too freezing, and you know that I got that seasoning. I ain't tryna go like Meech did Heatings, that's what I bring, touch mic man's leaving. I don't wanna flex like them, I just wanna go get this dough. I don't wanna see no sirens, I'm just trying to get this home. She can't act like my team, and I ain't on impressing the whole. This one kicks like bison, this one hits like Tyson's throat.
Sounds of Ritz on this one with Tyson's Throw.
Go get this dough.
What an absolute banger this one is. Throw your likes on the video, people. Come on, get involved.
She can't act like my team, and I ain't on impressing the whole. This one kicks like bison, this one hits like Tyson's throat.
I don't wanna, I just wanna go get this dough. I don't wanna flex like.
Wicked tune, this one. Sounds of Ritz trying something slightly different. Obviously, we're used to hearing him over 140. Something slightly slower. I think it suits him, you know. I think it really, really works. Let's crack on with a little bit of news then. So, deepfake detection tool has been unveiled by Microsoft. I didn't realize deepfaking was at this point now where it was so normalized. But apparently, Microsoft have developed a tool to spot deepfakes, computer manipulated images essentially, in which one person's likeness has been used to replace that of another. The software analyzes photos and videos to give a confidence score about whether the material they are likely to be seeing is artificially created or not. So there we go. The firm says it hopes the tech will help combat disinformation. One expert has said it risks becoming outdated because of the pace at which deepfake tech is advancing. To address this, Microsoft has also announced a separate system to help content producers add hidden code to their footage so any subsequent changes can be easily flagged. Deepfakes came into prominence in early 2018 after a developer adapted cutting-edge artificial intelligence techniques to create software that swapped one person's face for another. I've seen a couple of deepfakes. They're pretty mad when you actually see them, because 9 times out of 10, whenever I've seen them, I believe them to be real and they look real. And if you hadn't told me they weren't real, I'd be surprised. So it's quite scary when you think about it, because I don't even think about it half the time. I just assume it's a real person. Deepfakes, as I was saying, came into prominence in early 2018 after a developer adapted cutting-edge artificial intelligence techniques to create software that swapped one person's face for another. Second time reading it. The process worked by feeding a computer lots of still images of a person and video footage of another. Software then used this to generate a new video featuring the former's face with the place of the latter's, with matching expressions, lip sync, and other movements. So it's very It's very tight, and as soon as you add audio to it, that's when it becomes a whole different level of mad. A lot of the time when we see deepfakes, it's kind of like people on the faces of footballers or, I don't know, in movies or something like that, where you're not really worrying about them having to replace the audio themselves. But as soon as you start them to lip sync, that's when it becomes a bit mad. Some apps exist that require only a single selfie to substitute a film star's face with the user from that film clip into a Hollywood movie, which is true as well. But there are some concerns about the process can also be abused to create misleading clips in which prominent figures may say or act in a way that they wouldn't necessarily do in real life for political or other gain. Now, this is obviously where we start to see the real potential dangers of this. If we start seeing people, other people's faces put onto political figures and they're saying things that you wouldn't expect, it could quite easily influence votes. But we're not going to get political this morning. I've purposefully not gone political in a couple of weeks on this show. Earlier this year, Facebook banned deepfakes that might mislead users into thinking a subject had said something they had not. Twitter and TikTok later followed with similar rules of their own. Microsoft's video authenticator tool works by trying to detect giveaway signs that an image has been artificially generated, which might be invisible to the human eye. And I feel, honestly, a lot of the time these things are invisible to the human eye. I don't see them half the time, and I like to think I've got quite a good eye for spotting fake things, but there we go. These include subtle fading or grayscale pixels at the bottom of where the computer-generated version of the target's face has been merged with that of the original subject's body, and other bits as well. To build it, the firm applied its own machine learning technique to a public data set of about 1,000 deepfaked video techniques and sequences, and then tested the resulting module against an even bigger FaceBot database created by Facebook. So there we go. In reality, this is probably a good thing. I think it's good that people are kind of already looking at what the negative sides of deepfaking technology could bring. And obviously, I mean, there's only so much fun you can get out of putting your head onto the face of a football player. You know, it's fun. It's fine at the time, and the first time you do it, it's cool, and then it gets old very quickly. However, the scary thing is how it could be used elsewhere. So fair enough. I like the fact they're looking into fixing this before it gets out of hand. Let's move forward then. We're going to jump into another banger because I absolutely love playing this one yesterday, and I can't wait to do so again. This one coming from J Huss. This one is the Lucent Flip of Must Be. We're live on CubCamTV, baby. We're going to be talking to Mr. Dubz in around 12 minutes or so, so keep it locked. Throw your subs on the channel. Make sure you're hitting that like button and don't go anywhere. Oh, yes.
Man, you're guilty. So you're guilty. By association, man, you're guilty. Say you're guilty. By association, now you're guilty. You're guilty. By association. Yeah. If it move like a up, talk like a up, smell like a up, then it must be a. If it look like a up, chew with a up, hang with a up, then it must be. If it move like a up, talk like a up, smell like a up, then it must be a up. If it look like a up, chew with a up, hang with a up, then it must be. I seen a man fucked up, seen a man locked up, blammed up, chopped up, downtown up top. Man get the guap up, the man get the drop top. Gal in a crop top, man get the thumbs up. Cutty got his funds up, outside non-stop. 5 man, 1 block, eating out of 1 pot. You coming like Rambo, who's really unstuffed? Homeless Colombo, sitting by the bus stop. Let a couple man go, show man tough love. Outside the bando, man had a standoff. The thing had extendo, show him how it bangs off. Gal in commando, she take the pant off. Wish man bare love, show man enough love. Cool with some go, be for the rest of. If man slip, get up, dust yourself up. Everyone F up, yo. If it move like a up, talk like a up, smell like a up, then it must be a. If it look like a up, chew with a up, hang with a up, then it must be. If it move like a up, talk like a up, smell like a up, then it must be a up. If it look like a up, chew with a up, hang with a up, then it must be. You laugh with the ups, you smile with the ups, you gon' cry with the ups, make them fly with the ups. You feel guilty by association. Put the location in my navigation. It was an invasion. I didn't wanna ride, but I had a temptation. Every time I ride there, I feel a sensation. Every time I speak, it's a money conversation. I try and bring you part of the money operation, but it didn't work because of miscommunication. Black boys never have no organization. You don't know yourself, so you look for validation. You were FBI, where you get your information. I think he's an op, but I need a confirmation. I see you with an op, now you need an explanation. But every time I see them, it's acceleration. If it move like a up, talk like a up, smell like a up, then it must be a. If it look like a up, chew with a up, hang with a up, then it must be. If it move like a up, talk like a up, smell like a up, then it must be a up. If it look like a up, chew with a up, hang with a up, then it must be. Man, you're guilty, say you're guilty. By association, man, you're guilty. Say you're guilty. By association, man, you're guilty. Say you're guilty. By association, If it move like a up, talk like a up, smell like a up, then it must be a. If it look like a up, chew with a up, hang with a up, then it must be. If it move like a up, talk like a up, Smell like a up, then it must be a up. If it look like a up, chill with a up. Hang with a up, then it must be.
Right then, my friends, how are we doing this morning? Welcome back to Breakfast with Kovu here on CubCamTV. I hope everyone is enjoying the show this morning. I, for one, am having a fantastic time, so thank you for joining us. Throw a like on the video. Let us know how you're feeling in the chat on the right-hand side. We're going to be getting into that interview with Mr. Dubz in around 9 minutes or so. Before that, though, I want to get into another little bit of news as we move forward, because there's some interesting stuff to be talked about. There's some interesting stuff to be kind of looked through. The 2020 Rated Awards have been announced with Mo Gilligan and Julie Adenuga to return as hosts by the looks of things. With the 2020 Rated Awards around the corner, we can now announce that Mo Gilligan and Julie Adenuga will return as hosts of the virtual ceremony. This comes from GRM Daily Inside. The two presenters made their debut as rated hosts at the 2018 Awards at the ceremony, where viewers were able to witness the natural chemistry between them, and we can expect to be seeing them deliver that once again this year. Taking place on the GRM YouTube channel on September the 9th, Mo and Julie will host the virtual ceremony at the 2020 Rated Awards, where the winners of each category will be revealed. We'll also see performances from a number of the scene's biggest stars going out via the channel as well. So, interesting stuff, and I like the fact the Rated Awards are cracking on. I like this because the thing is, with live shows, there's only so much you can do with virtual stuff. In my personal opinion, anyway, I think there's only so much you can live stream a show and it still remain kind of interesting. But I like the fact that the award ceremonies are going virtual, because I can understand that there's a bit more. You can still get the excitement from it. I feel you can do award ceremonies more than you can do live shows. So there we go. Looking around some other bits of news as well, as that was only a short piece. Apparently, Apple are going to be launching the new Apple Watches very, very soon too. Apparently, Apple is gearing up to launch 2 new Apple Watch models this year, with the addition of an iPad Pro, according to reports. Bloomberg recently reported, unlike any iPad Air products in the last couple of years, the highly anticipated iPad Pro will have an edge-to-edge display, so it won't have that little rim around the outside, I presume. On the other hand, the 2 newly announced upcoming watches will play 2 different roles in the Apple marketing campaign, with one being a successor to the Apple Watch 5, whilst the other one will operate as a cheaper model that will replace the Apple Watch 3 in an upcoming lineup. When it comes to phones, Bloomberg has also confirmed that earlier reports on the company will be dropping a total of 4 phones this year, which will include OLED displays, 2 high-end Pro models, which will feature 6.1-inch and 6.7-inch displays, whilst their more basic models will have a 5.4-inch display and a 6.1-inch display. So there we go. Interesting stuff. Loads of numbers throwing at you very, very quickly this morning. The report also states that new iPhones will be reminiscent of the iPad Pro design, with the phone having square edges. Furthermore, the Pro models are set to depart from their midnight green color, being replaced with a dark blue. So there we go. Interesting design news this morning. Out to everyone getting involved in the show each and every time. Of course, I hope everyone is enjoying these news bits. As always, if there are any topics you'd like me to discuss, please do make sure you get them into me, and I'd be more than happy to discuss what people want to hear. But yeah, interesting stuff, man. Interesting stuff. The world turns forward. The world of tech continuously turns forward. We've had a couple of tech bits today. Obviously, looking at new Apple Watches, looking at new deep fake technology. It's all spinning forward very, very quickly, which is interesting, to be honest with you. We never know what's around the corner with technology, so I think staying ahead of it and staying in the know about what's going on is very important. Even if I don't necessarily subscribe to having to have an Apple Watch or having to have any of these things, I think knowing what they are and knowing what they do is very important, because you don't want to be that guy in the conversation when people are flexing their weird bits of technology and you go, what does that do? Because it's just not a good position to be in. My personal opinion on that anyway. So what we are going to do next is jump into one more banger, because following that, we're going to be getting into today's interview, which I'm super excited for. Man like Mr. Dubz will be joining us on the phone in around 5 minutes or so, so we're going to play one more banger before that, and before we get into that, and then we are going to, from there, move into the interview section of the show. So make sure you are keeping locked. As always, make sure you are throwing a subscription on the channel. We're trying to grow here, people, and clicking that button makes a massive difference. We're trying to hit 1.6k by the end of the show, so that we are going into this evening's we're going, basically, if we hit 1.6 by the end of the show, it means we're 400 stronger than we were last Thursday, which mental. If we can do that, that is absolutely mind-blowing, and we can do it if you guys get involved. So please do get involved. As well as at socials, of course, you can catch me on Instagram, alongside Facebook, alongside Twitter, of course, and SoundCloud, all of those at KXVU are as the @ and you can, of course, catch the show via the podcast, which is available on Spotify, Apple Music, and SoundCloud as well. If you just want to hear the audio, you don't want to have YouTube open on your phone, you can lock into any of those. We take all the music out, and it's just a nice long-form piece of conversational podcastery. There we go. Let's crack on then. We're going to get into this one next from Brucey. I'm absolutely loving this tune right now, I've got to say. I'm a bit of a fanboy for this tune, I can't lie. It's one of those earworms that you find yourself humming as you're walking around the house. This one goes by the name of Mission, so keep it locked. We're going to be jumping on the line with man like Mr. Dubz in just a second. Don't go anywhere. It's Breakfast with KXVU, baby. Oh, yes.
What's going on, people? It's Razor. You're live and direct, locked into the waviest breakfast on the airwaves. Man like CubCamTV. Bang.
I don't need you to complete me. I'm fulfilled by my dreams. You don't need me to make you whole. That's why we make a good team. So many places around you. Can you make a decision? Pack your suitcase. Let's go on a mission, girl. Where do you wanna go? You can just let me know. Pack your suitcase. Let's go on a mission, girl. Where do you wanna be? Got the whole world to say. Pack your suitcase, let's go on a mission. Got the whole world to say. Let's go on a mission.
Already told her she's my favorite girl, taking on the galaxy, it's you and me against the world. She keeps me on my toes and she makes them curl. We be dancing to the money, wind your waist and twirl. She got goals like the women's FA. Let's sit and talk about our future while we're chilling today. Would you love me if I only earned the minimum wage? Can we go catch a vibe, cause I'm missing the rave. For a lady like you, I've been forever waiting. Every day that we're together, man, I'm celebrating. Spin the globe, eyes closed, pick a destination. One life this time, man, I'm never wasting. And when I finish your show, you gas me up, feel like this chick is my bro. 5-star good food, let's finish and go. Pack a bag, we're hitting the road, we're on a mission.
Girl, where do you wanna go? You can just let me know. Pack your suitcase, let's go on a mission. Girl, where do you wanna be? Got the whole world to say. So many things on my mind. Can you stop me from going down? Forget taking our time. It's me and you and the time is now. And they ain't doing it like you and I. We got something different. Pack your suitcase. Let's go on a mission. Where do you wanna go? You can just let me know. Pack your suitcase, let's go on a mission. Where do you wanna be? Got the whole world to say. Pack your suitcase, let's go on a mission.
Right then, my friends, we're back inside the building. How are we doing? Welcome back to Breakfast with KXVU here on CubCamTV. It's a massive delight to have everyone in the building. It's a massive delight to have all the podcast listeners in, and of course all the DAB listeners via Trickstar Radio as well. So thank you for getting involved. We're moving into today's interview next. We're going to be joined by a very exciting producer, someone who clearly is showcasing a lot of versatility with his sound, and of course has a lot of already longevity to what he's been doing over the last few years. So Mr. Dubz is in the building. How are you doing, my friend?
Good morning, sir. Thank you for having me. I'm very well, thank you.
That's what we like to hear, man. That's what we like to hear. We've got loads of stuff to discuss today. Obviously, this is the first time we've kind of spoken over the phone, so I know there's a lot of stuff that I'm keen to jump into. We've been actually on a lot of releases together, but I think this is the first time we've actually spoken.
Literally is, bro. Going back, we must have been on a fair few compilations over the last 5-6 years or so.
Definitely,
but first time we've actually spoken, man.
Which is good, man. It's exciting. I love meeting people for the first time whilst doing this show, man. I love it. So obviously you've been involved with a lot of different labels over the years with yourself. What was the first kind of, should we say, release that you got involved in? Because I feel you've been around for a hot minute now.
It's been a long time, and I think I've actually been producing for a little over 10 years at this point, or just around the 10-year mark. But I actually started making drum and bass, like that was my thing. Way back when I was like, I'm going to get set up, I'm going to get Logic, I'm going to get all cracked software plugins, as you do, just to get the ball rolling. And I was like, right, I'm making drum and bass, and that's what I'm doing. And originally, the very first label that showed support was a little local label called Tipping Point Music, run by a local DJ called Andy H, who's a bit of a legend around Sheffield parts. But he showed love and was willing to put out some of my releases, and it was after a couple of years I kind of started experimenting with kind of 140 and garagey kind of bits as well, because I think, like, as a musical taste, I was into grime as well as drum and bass as well alongside it, and that started kicking off. And I think that's when people got to hear about Mr. Dubz. To be honest, it was through the 140 and grime stuff, and there was Skills and Project All Out that was supporting that initially. Okay,
cool. So with that then, like when you kind of look back at the sort of transition that you kind of made, did you find yourself missing drum and bass at the beginning?
Interestingly, I'd grown up listening to drum and bass, like basically all my life. Born as a junglist, basically. Yeah. That was all I listened to exclusively. And I got into grime as well, mainly through the kind of MCing side of things. I like the MCs on drum and bass, and that kind of led me towards grime and hearing like certain MCs like Wiley, Deep Power Diesel, and they had a kind of connection to the drum and bass scene as well. But once I started getting more into grime, I kind of not lost touch with drum and bass, and so I didn't miss it per se, but it just got to a point where I was so focused on one particular genre and getting into like the grime 140 side of things and actually making those kind of beats and instrumentals was like, that really took over for a long time. So I guess I didn't miss drum and bass, I just got so focused on 140 kind of vibes, really.
There we go. I mean, it's an interesting transition to make, because I almost kind of sometimes see kind of 140 and D&B as almost like completely separate lanes, but the more you kind of look into it and the more you kind of look around, you find so many people have kind of jumped between the two.
Very much so. The two scenes don't integrate, really. Like, I can't think of many occasions, if anywhere, like there's been drum and bass and grime in the same room on a lineup in an event, if that makes sense. Yeah. And like, the two scenes don't really correlate that much. So I'd probably the only person kind of trying to bridge that gap, and I wasn't trying to link the two things together, but I think when I started making 140, I was basically trying to bring all the energy and all the vibes of drum and bass and everything you get in like a big D&B rave, and kind of put that energy and emphasis into a 140 kind of into that kind of frame. And so that was where I was trying to come from in terms of how I was producing 140. So I tried to bring a lot of influence and all the kind of mid-rangey, gritty bass sounds as well, trying to bring that into a kind of a 140 format. And I guess for me as well, having grown up listening to so much drum and bass, it was almost like a challenge making grime, because you go from a completely different structure and arrangement style when you're making grime and 140 stuff. So it was very, very involved, and I enjoyed making it. Still do, to be honest. Just a little bit more focused back in drum and bass land at the moment.
Yeah, entirely. I mean, we're going to be getting into some of these new singles you've sent over, which I'm really, really excited to do. But for the time being, I want to kind of look at this. So when you first started cracking on making the 140 sort of sound, what was the initial reaction like? Like, how did you find people responding?
It was mad surprising, to be honest, because to some extent I didn't know what I was doing at all. I was just making, you know, and you set the tempo in your DAW and you just go, right, let's see what happens. And there was some initial tracks that I'd sent out and they got reactions, and I just didn't expect it at all. And there were even a couple of tracks that got picked up for like there was a couple of MCs locally, like Smiley, Coco, Shin. They all were like MCs, or still are around. I'm sure people know about Coco right now, but some of my tracks were picked up and they ended up spitting on them, and there were like videos on YouTube. I just didn't expect that at all. I didn't see that coming. And so when people like Spooky as well showed so much support, when he was playing tracks of mine on his show on Deja, when he was still back on Deja, that was mad surprising to me. And that was a big boost as well, because I'm sure any producer can attest to this. You know, once someone actually shows love to your tunes and they're playing it on radio, you kind of feel a buzz, and you kind of encouraged to actually do more of that. So it was a massive surprise, to be honest, but very encouraging as well.
Definitely, man. No, I can 100% attest to it, man. I feel like over the years as well, you've been one of these producers who has been so consistent with getting music out there. You know, there hasn't really been a drop off in quality at any point ever. It's always seemingly been you pretty much just putting a new release out. There'll be a new EP out, and then there'll be a compilation release out. Like on average, how many tunes have you been putting out a year for the last sort of, let's say, 4 or 5 years?
Oh, blimey. They're probably averages out all right, to be honest. I mean, in fairness, there was probably a few years between perhaps 2017 and 2019 where I was slightly less active, but that was just like where I was like moving house and sorting stuff to do with that, and then my computer died for a bit, and I had about 6 months where I had no computer at all. But there was still music. Dude, that was the proper nightmare, just having to wait and save up and whatnot to get new set up, but and actually build up all your plugin collections and everything. But I guess in terms of an average, it's probably like 6-7 tracks at least a year on average, because I try and get at least 1 or 2 EPs out. And I think work rate kind of comes from an OCD kind of thing. If I'm not making tunes, I almost feel like I'm wasting time in a way. And like, if a day goes by and I haven't been on Logic, at least just making a patch or a bass sound, I almost feel like I've missed out. So hopefully we can keep the work rate up, and to be honest, this year's probably bumped my average up now, because we're on EP number 4 for this year. So that's definitely helping my average.
To be honest with you, bro, it's never really seemed like you've dipped off, if I'm being honest. It seems like every year there's been a super consistent run of releases, and you've never been someone who's been kind of afraid to kind of go to different labels either. You seem to have quite like a wide range of people you work with.
Absolutely, man, and I've been blessed to meet a few people over the few years, and especially like Chameleon Audio guys as well down Walsall way. Big up Mojo, big up Chemist, big up Jake Bob, all of them. Like, they've shown love and support, and when I've hooked up with those guys, they're super sound, so was always happy to release with them as well. Project All Out have always supported. And recently as well, Wub Club Records have been showing a lot of love and support. And I think I will happily work with people, you know, especially if I've met them and we've got a kind of a similar vibe and wavelengths in terms of like just in terms of actual people. You know, it's great when you get on with people and you have a similar mindset. So, and it's being able to find the homes for the kind of music that I do as well, because I try and bring all kinds of different styles. It's not just about making bangers after bangers after bangers. There's got to be a little something a little bit more wavy in there as well sometimes. So the fact that these labels are showing love is amazing, really. I feel very blessed in that regard. But yeah, I guess it just comes down to where the people's personalities lie, and then if your vibe's in, then it's like, yeah, let's do a project, man.
Amazing. Right then, we're going to get into the first tune of the day then. I'm excited. This is a really good conversation. We're going to get into this one. It goes by the name of Shoreline. So talk to me about this tune. How did it come together? What sort of vibe should we expect?
This one is a nice, warm, sunshiny roller, man. This one's just like vibes up your day. If you've got subs, if you've got a car, if you're out and got a decent radio, get this one cranked. It's a nice vibe. This was part of my Wanna Do It EP on Wakeup Records back in April, and this was the second track off that EP. And it was actually probably the latest one to be produced, because we had 3 tracks ready for the EP, needed another one, and this one just seemed to fit the bill. And at the time, this was the latest thing that I'd just made, and then boom, that was it. EP done, completed, and that, yeah, like I say, it's out only a couple of months ago. So yeah, this one's Shoreline from myself, drum and bass vibes. Yeah,
amazing stuff. Right then, everyone locking in right about now, make sure you're throwing a like on the video and hitting that subscribe button. We're trying to hit 1.6k by the end of this show. We're only a few subs away, so get involved. We can do it with your help. We are live on Breakfast with Kovu. Mr. Dubz joins us. It's CubCamTV and Trickstar Radio, baby. Oh yes. Right then, my friends, thank you for joining us this morning. We are live on CubCamTV. This is Breakfast with Kovu, and we've got a very special guest in the building. Mr. Dubz joins us. We're going to switch the topic up a little bit here. I want to talk a little bit about lockdown for yourself, because obviously the theme of this show has always been, since we've been doing it via YouTube, has been during lockdown. So I like to ask people kind of like how their situations are going, like what they've been up to during this unusual period of human history, essentially. So like, how have you found the last sort of 5-6 months in regards to kind of making music?
In terms of making music, man, I think myself and most producers out there would be in a similar position, in that if you're telling someone lockdown, and which effectively equates for producers to like stay locked in and make tunes, that was almost a good thing. You know, everything else in the world, there's a lot of stuff going on, obviously, and not everyone handles the lockdown in the same way. But as a producer, I think it's definitely provided me a little bit of extra time, to be fair, and the ability to focus on what I can actually achieve, because I'm always trying to squeeze that extra bit of juice out of my productions and really push the boat out in terms of production standards as well. So it's just given me a bit of time to actually fine-tune some processes that I do. Just before lockdown as well, I'd managed to get hold of some outboard analog gear, so trying to get out of the box, if that makes any sense, rather than just using everything in plugins and whatnot. So it just kind of gave me a chance to expand on what I really do in terms of production standards, and it's been quite rewarding in that sense, which is quite nice, because whilst there's a lot of stuff going on outside of the studio, so to speak, it was nice to have a bit of positivity coming out of the studio when so much of this stuff is going on in the world outside. So,
it's almost like having that kind of the comfort within that room. You know, it's almost like a bit of a shield from the madness that has been taking place across the world. And it's a bit of escapism more than anything else.
Yeah, that is a factor in it, without a doubt. And I think a studio needs to be that, really. It's got to be super comfy. Like, people, it's a bit stereotypical, but lava lamps in a studio are there for a reason. You know what I mean? They're not just, it's got to be a relaxing vibe somewhere that a person feels comfortable, and then you can really get into the zone. And you know how it is when sometimes tunes just come together, and by the end of it, you're like, how did that even happen?
Yeah.
And the whole day's gone by, and it's like you've been hypnotized in the studio. But that's the vibe you got to go for, man. It's got to be comfortable. So yeah, I think it's been really productive for me, to be honest. And like I say, I've managed to get a lot of production done, which has contributed to the EPs that have been out this year.
Amazing, man. Well, it's been sick to kind of hear about the journey, and obviously we've kind of made a point on this show so far of kind of listening through of people's sounds and how their sounds have kind of changed during lockdown. Do you feel that lockdown period had a big kind of impact on you kind of making that switch back to D&B?
Definitely. I guess, to be fair, the switch back to making drum and bass occurred possibly around this time last year, or from summertime of 2019. Good friend of mine, long-time friend of mine, producer by the name of Euphonics, actually got his own little label up here in Sheffield that he's running, and does drum and bass, and predominantly it was for his own productions. And he sent me some stuff that was just mind-blowingly good, and I was like, man, this proper give me the itch to get back into making drum and bass. And we actually released a collaborative EP towards the back end of 2019, but it was that really sparked me getting back into drum and bass. And I think one thing with drum and bass that I've found personally as a producer, like, the production standards are ridiculously high.
Of course.
If you want your...
I was going to say, it's like, out of all genres, it really does seem to be the one where the, almost like, without sounding crude, almost like the nerdiness of production is praised super, super highly.
Indeed, like, I couldn't emphasise that point enough. And I think...
Which isn't a bad thing, by the way, which isn't a bad thing. Let me just get out of that. It's not a bad thing.
I love geeking out over music production. Like, I will sit there for hours and tweak that snare. I'm that one person that's just trying to, like, make that snare drum super crispy, and I'll spend all day doing it as well, which on one hand can be a bit counterproductive, but also I just proper enjoy doing it. So and I think in this part of the timeline of my sort of production career, if you want to call it that, I probably feel the most accomplished that I ever have done in terms of my production standards. And it felt like the right time to really see if I could use everything that I've learned and put that back towards drum and bass and start seeing how it sounded. And it was starting to sound all right. And like I say, it's gotten me to the point now where, I mean, must have produced like a couple of dozen drum and bass tracks now, finished ones, and they're all like gradually getting better and better. So it felt like the right time to really try and get some drum and bass out there and see how it floats in the big sea of all the other producers that are absolutely killing it and have the highest production standards. And so, yeah, Wakeup have been kind enough to support that, and they felt it was right to get those tunes out there. They felt they were of a high enough quality, and again, it's very encouraging when you get that support. So, yeah, it's just kind of all headed that way, and I think 140 and grime stuff I still love. There's only so many hours in the day, though, to actually get anything done music production wise. So yeah, recently it's just been very drum and bass focused, and I'd hope to get back to some 140 soon. For the time being, though, yeah, it's been a very much a drum and bass flex.
There we go. That's what I like to hear, man. Well, with that, we're going to move into the second tune of the day. Now, this one goes by the name of In Your Soul. So talk to me about this tune. How did it come together? And what's what's the sort of vibe we can expect from this one?
This one's actually quite a chilled out number from myself. So this was very recently released. This just came out last Friday, in fact, and is the second track off my EP called the Storm Force EP. And this was specifically placed as a second track just to counterbalance the first one, because Storm Force is basically like gnarly, super gnarly, and I wanted to have something that actually reflected a slightly softer, smoother style of production. So I kind of like all drum and bass, like I love it all, and that's how I end up making a variety of music, just because I like it all so much. But so In Your Soul is a very much more of a rolling, chilled out vibe, and again, it's got a kind of slightly summery vibe.
Okay.
A little bit.
Just a little bit of summer, just a little bit of a summery vibe.
Just a sprinkling.
Awesome, man. Well, we're going to get into this one now. Then this one goes by the name of In Your Soul. Keep it locked. We're live on Breakfast with Kovu. Get those likes in, people. Get those subscriptions in as well. Don't go anywhere. It's breakfast. Oh, yes. We are moving into the final section of this interview, which is I've really enjoyed. I've got to say, it's been a good way to start off the Thursday. Obviously, today is it's become almost like the favourite day for the music industry, as we see most of the music videos drop. Most people announce their releases. We see the previews go up. Thursday is the new Friday, as it were. So it's exciting. It's a good way to start off the day, looking through different sorts of sounds and genres more than anything else. And obviously, with that, I want to kind of move this final section of the interview onto looking into the future for yourself. So, Mr. Dubz, Talk to me about the rest of 2020. What's on the way? What's the plan?
Well, 2/3 of the year done roughly. The rest of this year, wow, we've got. Well, basically, there's about half a dozen or so tracks that have very recently been finished that are going to be formed projects that are going to be released over the rest of this year. There is a plan for one freebie dropping in the next couple of months. We've not firmed up the date for that. That'll be a drum and bass track that you'll hear via my SoundCloud. Also been working on some projects with vocals as well. So drum and bass tracks with original vocals, which for me personally, like, I don't know why, but I've always shied away a little bit from working with vocals just because as a producer and all my OCDs, it prangs me out dealing with vocals, which is the most maddest thing. But I guess I've always focused on like the production elements of synths and drums, and then producing vocals is like a skill set in its own right, and getting vocals to sound proper. But time has come to actually flex those production muscles on the vocal side of things. So we've actually got a finished project as well with wicked vocalist on there, sung some amazing vocals, and so that again, that'll come out at some point towards the back end of this year, but it's only recently been finished. So in terms of actual releases, that's not firmed up yet in terms of release dates anyway. So we've got a vocal track, free track that's going to be coming out, and then hopefully another EP, and again, that's taking shape as we speak. There's 2 or 3 tracks that are finished for that, and then as we speak, I'll be working on, well, over the next few weeks anyway, I'll be working on putting finishing touches to probably some more drum and bass tracks, and I do have 1 or 2 140 / kind of grime tempo tracks to get out there, just instrumental things that are a little bit deeper, darker things that I've been working on. So we've got a little range, man, and yeah, I'm going to be hopefully getting these tracks out on promo to a few people just to get reactions over the next couple of months. And I think because the Stormforce EP has just dropped on Wakeup, going to let that one get out there, marinate in the public a little bit before we move on and get the next releases out. But it's all there, it's stacking up. And again, just going back to what we were saying before, the last track, lockdown, because of having that extra time, I've been able to build up a bit of an arsenal of tracks there ready for as we go into the latter part of this year, really. Amazing, man.
Well, it's good that you've been able to kind of utilize that time to kind of, as you say, build up the arsenal and have the ammunition ready to roll when the people's them come knocking, as it were. So that might be the weirdest sentence I've ever said. But kind of with that, then, are there any places you're kind of looking to get involved with release-wise?
I think at the moment anything just comes as a blessing, to be honest. And I mean, now that we've got a couple of solid kind of drum and bass releases out via Wakeup, I reckon it would be amazing if I could expand the repertoire of labels that I'm on. And I think, again, it's just about finding the right home for the particular music. A lot of bigger labels, so to speak, have got a kind of a reputation for their own sound, if you like. And I think for the way my productions sound anyway, I guess it's just a case of finding the right home and people that are willing to put that out. But I'm always up for expanding out into slightly different avenues in terms of labels as well. I think for the time being, the Wakeup guys have shown so much support. Like, they've got an incredible team at the moment in terms of the way they promote their connections through the industry. Their visuals team, guys that do all their visuals, are insane. Like, they make incredible products. So for the time being, like, really happy just releasing through there. But I guess it would be remiss of me to say that I wouldn't actually like go to another labels if it seemed right at the time and the vibe was right, and like I say, if it was fitting for another label, then we could go down that road. And just really looking forward to the future, to be honest, music wise, seeing where we can push this.
Amazing, man. Well, you see what it is with the sort of stuff you're making now. I feel there is so much there's so much scope for what you're currently doing. I feel there's so much range in the sort of sound as well, because the stuff we've heard this morning has been quite liquidy. There's been quite like a nice kind of feel to it. And as you said earlier, you're interested in kind of every style of D&B. But with that, can we expect any other sort of 140 bits in the near future, or is it pretty much just D&B from here on in?
It is pretty much drum and bass at the moment. I guess I've been so focused on that and just building up that range of tracks. I do have a couple in the bank, though, of 140 tracks that are kind of ideas. And I must admit, they must have been tracks that I'd actually started back end of 2019, just little sketches of ideas. And I don't know, I'm sure any producer listening will know this when you on a kind of a down day when you're not working on a specific project, you go through all the little Logic files. I mean, I'm a Logic user, so but if you're on Fruit Loops or if you're on Ableton, whatever it is, you go through all the old projects and just looking at what you've done. And there's a couple that actually were half started, pretty decent ideas, and those will get finished hopefully this year as well, once I've just put the finishing touches to them, tweaks on the mix down, get the mastering sorted. But yeah, there are actually a couple of 140 projects. They're kind of a bit more deeper kind of vibe, these ones. One of them actually got started just towards the beginning of lockdown and was a super dark, twisted vibe. And I think that was at a time when everything in terms of world events had just kind of taken a really kind of left turn, and the vibes came through on that track. It's quite a moody one, but we should have some more bubbly numbers as well. But yeah, there's a lot of drum and bass, and you've got a couple of 140 bits coming hopefully in the future. We'll see how those land really. I might just put them out as freebies, or there's a couple of labels that I could hit up just to maybe give them a bit more welly in terms of the actual release. So yeah, you can expect to see a bit more.
Amazing, man. Well, we're going to move into like a final almost Q&A kind of section of this interview now, because there's always there's a couple of questions I like to ask people towards the end of things. So if we're going to go into the Q&A section, if you could have one dream collaboration with one producer and then one with a vocalist, what would they be?
Ooh, blimey. Do you know what? I'm going to go full back to some of my favourite DJs / producers and vocalists. Bit of a curveball one in terms of collaboration. Like, I'm going to say DJ Hype as a proper curveball answer to a curveball question. So I think growing up, like, DJ Hype was an absolute idol for me. It still is, to be honest, and everything he's done with his labels over the years since the early 90s, and his, like, the way he produced, is the way he DJ'd as well. And like, I think growing up, I was always like, man, I always dreamed of doing a back-to-back set with DJ Hype. It was one of those things that would never happen in a million years, and still won't, to be honest. But like, if I could collaborate with one person, man, DJ Hype would be an absolute dream. And then vocalist-wise, man, I always still am, again, a massive fan, and always was, of Jenna G. She's done some amazing vocals over drum and bass in the last decade and a half or so, and some of her early work that Chase and Status did. There was a track that Jenna G vocaled with Chase and Status ages ago that was amazing, track called In Love. And yeah, working with Jenna G would be incredible. There we go. I mean, two very, as you say, curveball answers, but once you've explained them, they do both make quite a fair bit of sense, which is really cool to see. Nice one, man. And I think, yeah, there's a bit of an old school answers there in that respect. They're not necessarily the newest artists on the planet at all. Not necessarily people everyone I heard of, but like incredibly talented people nonetheless, and have achieved so much. And yeah, I just have absolute respect for those people. Amazing, off the chart, man. Amazing. Okay, cool. Well, we've got a couple of minutes left. As I said before, we're finishing up today's show slightly early. A couple of reasons for that. One, we've only got the one guest on, and we've obviously extended this interview a little bit. But I've also got a podcast to record pretty much straight after this show, and obviously then I'm going back to the Trickstar studio to kind of check up on everything and make sure stuff's back to working condition. So it's going to be a busy day. So we're finishing up slightly early today. But Mr. Dubz, are there any other things you'd like to let us know before we do finish up today? Keep an eye out on the socials. You can hit me up on Mr. Dubz at Mr. Dubz UK on most socials, so Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and all of that. Keep an eye on the SoundCloud as well under that same handle at Mr. Dubz UK. There'll be some new music dropping on there. Like I say, there should be some free downloads to come in the next couple of months, so keep an eye out for that. And if you're interested in my music, my latest EP's just dropped. Storm Force EP via Wakeup Records just landed last Friday, so that's out now. Brand spanking new. You can stream that all over your usual favourite streaming points. And if you're into copying music, get that Juno download, Beatport, all of the good stuff. And I guess, yeah, there'll be more music coming from me later this year as well. And it's been a busy one. We're on to EP number 4 we had for the year so far. And if you're in the more kind of grime and 140 vibes, we had the back in March, I believe, was my last kind of grime related EP out on Chameleon Audio called the Hotters EP. Again, go check that out. For anyone that's on that kind of vibe, some bangers on there. And yeah, just big up to everyone that's ever copped my music or shown love over the last few years. And if you're into the new drum and bass vibes as well that I'm doing, man, amazing respect and love to everyone that's been checking out the music, really. I can't thank you guys enough.
Amazing, man. Well, we're going to finish up with one more tune. This one is your remix of Games by Weto. So how did the remix come together and what can we expect from this one?
So this one's definitely in the jump up department. This one was just kind of to go all out and make this as kind of as crazy, scatty jump up tune as kind of what that kind of end of the spectrum that I like to do as well. Just kind of really going for it, let your hair down, and just absolutely shock out on the dance floor kind of vibes for this one. So if you're in your car, if you're in your living room or whatnot, turn this one up. This one was originally by Weto. This is my remix of his track Games, and yeah, this one's gnarly, mate.
Amazing. Well, we're going to finish up there, people. Thank you for watching the show this morning. We will be back this evening on the channel, as you can remember. It's going to be the Thursday premieres. Well, not show, just run of videos. Obviously, all the new music videos drop on a Thursday, so we're going to be doing those from around 6 o'clock onwards. Keep your eyes peeled. There's going to be videos dropping left, right, and centre. You can check this show out, of course, via the podcast, available on Spotify, Apple Music, and SoundCloud. All you need to do is search Breakfast with Kovu, the interviews, and you'll be able to find the audio. We cut the music out, so it's a nice long-form bit of conversation. As well as that, you can check me out on socials. That is on Instagram, Facebook, and, of course, Twitter and SoundCloud. All of those available at KXVU. And last of all, of course, make sure you are hitting that subscribe button. As you can see on the bottom of the page, we're trying to hit 1.6k by the end of this show. If we've done that, that would be amazing. I'm about to go and check. And then obviously we'll hopefully go up a little bit more this evening as well. So thank you for watching, guys. We're going to finish up with this one from Weto, track entitled Games, and this is the Mr. Dubz remix. Mr. Dubz, it's been a pleasure, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, bro. Big ups.